Assalamu alaikum. Today's episode is a revisit of the relationships of rotational and linear kinematics, focusing on the computations of angular displacement, angular velocity, radial and tangential accelerations, angular acceleration, and the time for a rotating body to come to rest. So, join me as we analyze three sample problems. Just sit back, relax, watch, and learn. Question number one. A bowling ball of mass 7.5 kilogram and radius 9.0 centimeters rolls without slipping 10 meters down a lane at 4.3 meters per second. Calculate, letter A, the angular displacement of the bowling ball. Letter B, calculate the angular velocity of the bowling ball. Letter C, calculate the radial acceleration of the bowling ball. And letter D, calculate the tangential acceleration of the bowling ball. First thing first, we are given the following data. The mass of the bowling ball, 7.5 kilogram, its radius, 9.0 centimeters, and the distance it covers, 10 meters down a lane at a constant tangential speed equal to 4.3 meters per second. Imagine that the bowling ball is rolling without slipping down a lane, assuming its direction of spin is clockwise. A particle, point P, right, at the rim of the bowling ball, 9.0 centimeters from the center, or the center being the axis of rotation, has a tangential velocity, all right, labeled as v sub t, which is perpendicular to the radius of the bowling ball, hence the word tangential velocity. All right? And based on the problem, this tangential velocity v sub t has a constant magnitude. So it means that at any point within the rim of the rolling ball, this tangential velocity of any point within the rim, right, has a constant tangential speed, that is constant magnitude of the tangential velocity, right? Uh, the angular velocity denoted by omega pertains to the rotational velocity of the whole rotating ball, which in this problem is also assumed to be constant. And since the tangential velocity of particle P is changing direction at any instant as the ball continues to roll right? The velocity or direction of the velocity of the tangential velocity of the particle is always changing, and so therefore we say that particle P is being accelerated, all right, towards the center of the rotation, right? So we label it here as A sub c, all right? It is the radial acceleration that arises because of the continuous change in the direction of the tangential velocity of the particle. And its direction is always towards the center, hence it is commonly called also as centripetal acceleration. Take note that the centripetal acceleration and the tangential velocity are perpendicular to each other. That means they form a 90-degree angle. Our target variables in this problem are letter A, the angular displacement theta, which we determine by just dividing the distance d by the radius of the wall, or that is 10 meter divided by 0.090 meters. The radius already converted in meters. So we get the angle theta, or the angular displacement, equal to 110 radians into significant figures. For question letter B, we are asked to compute the angular velocity denoted by omega, and that is simply equal to the tangential velocity v divided by the radius r. That is 4.3 meters per second divided by 0.090 meters. So doing our math, we get the magnitude of the angular velocity omega equals 48 radian per second, right? This is just the magnitude, right? Now, the direction of this angular velocity is not the same as the direction of the rotation of the bowling ball while it is rolling, all right? As a vector, the direction of this angular velocity can be determined, all right, using what we call the right-hand rule, all right? So, for example, in our illustration earlier, since the rotation of the ball is clockwise, all right, we represent the rotation of the body by the four fingers of your right hand, right? And then the axis, which is at the center of the ball, will be represented by the thumb of your right hand, right? So, if you're going to curl your four fingers in the direction of rotation, which is clockwise relative to you, all right? The direction of the thumb represents the direction of the vector angular velocity, right? In other words, right, curling your four fingers to represent the rotation of the ball, your thumb will be pointing away from you or into the screen of your computer or into the screen of your cell phone, that is perpendicular to the surface but away from you, and that represents the direction of the angular velocity, right? Now, the next target variable for question letter C is the radial acceleration of the particle located 9.0 centimeters from the center of rotation. Okay. Earlier we have the drawing of the diagram. Point P, all right, represents any particle at the rim of uh, the ball, and that happens to be 9.0 centimeters away from the center. All right. So when you say radial acceleration, we are referring to the centripetal acceleration of that particle, point P, which we said earlier is directed towards the center of the circle or the sphere, which is considered the axis of rotation. But the magnitude of that centripetal or radial acceleration is just equal to the square of the tangential velocity divided by the radius. That is, a sub c or a sub r equals 4.3 meters per second. That will be squared and then divided by 0.090 meters. Doing our math, we get the magnitude of the radial or centripetal acceleration equals 210 meters per second squared. This is the magnitude of the radial acceleration, the direction of which is towards the center of the rotation. And last but not the least, all right, we're also asked what is the tangential acceleration of the same particle located at the rim of the wall. All right, we label it as a sub t, as in tangential acceleration. And our answer is a sub t equals 0. There is no tangential acceleration because, all right, tangential acceleration and the angular acceleration represented by alpha are related as expressed in this equation. Tangential acceleration a sub t equals alpha multiplied by the radius r. And since the angular velocity omega is constant, all right, the delta omega is 0, then it follows the angular acceleration alpha is also equal to 0, right? That is the reason why the tangential acceleration, all right, is also equal to 0. For our second question, a wheel starts from rest and reaches an angular speed of 6.0 radian per second while turning through 2.0 revolutions. Question is, what is the average angular acceleration of the wheel? Option letter A, 0.24 radian per second squared. Option letter B, 1.4 radian per second squared. Option letter C, 3.0 radian per second squared. And option letter D, 9.0 radian per second squared. So for question number 2, we are given this information. The wheel started from rest, so the initial angular speed or velocity omega naught is equal to 0. Then it acquires, all right, a final angular speed or velocity equal to 6.0 radian per second after turning 2.0 revolutions. So the angular displacement of 2.0 revolution is equivalent to 2 pi radians. And our target variable is the angular acceleration denoted by alpha. We find this magnitude of the angular acceleration alpha using the equation alpha equals quantity omega squared minus omega naught squared divided by twice the angular displacement, or 2 times theta. So plugging in the data into this equation, we have quantity 6.0 radian per second, quantity squared, and then divided by 2 times 2 pi radian. So doing our math, we get the magnitude of the angular acceleration alpha equals 3.0 radian per second squared into significant figures as well. Hence, the correct option for question number 2 is, of course, option letter C. 3.0 radian per second squared is the magnitude of the angular acceleration. Our last question, number 3. A centrifuge in a medical laboratory rotates at a rotational speed of 3.60 raised to the third power revolutions per minute. When switched off, it rotates 50.0 times at a constant angular acceleration before coming to rest. Question letter A. Determine the initial angular speed of the centrifuge. Question letter B. Determine the angle in radians through which the centrifuge rotates before coming to rest. Question letter C. Calculate the constant angular acceleration of the centrifuge. And question letter D. Calculate the time necessary for the centrifuge to come to rest. So in question number 3, we are given the initial angular speed omega naught of the centrifuge equal to 3.60 raised to the third power revolutions per minute. Its final angular speed is equal to 0, all right, when the centrifuge was switched off. Before coming to stop, the centrifuge rotated through 50.0 revolutions. So we are asked to find the angular speed, initial angular speed in radians per second, right? Since the initial angular speed given is in revolution per minute, right? And to change it to radian per second, we simply multiply 3.60 raised to the third power revolutions per minute by the conversion factors, such as in one revolution, we have 2 pi radian, right? While for the unit of time minute, okay, we multiply it by the conversion factor. 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. So when you do our math and doing the proper cancellation of units, we get the initial angular speed already in radian per second equal to 377 radians per second. And for question letter B, although we are also given the number of revolutions, that means that is the angular displacement theta, but we need to convert that to radian, right? So we simply multiply 50.0 revolutions by the conversion factor. 2 pi radian is equivalent to 1 revolution. So again, doing our math and canceling the unit revolution, we get the value of the angle theta equals 314 radians. Also in 3 significant figures. For question letter C, computing the angular acceleration alpha, we will use this formula. Alpha is equal to quantity omega squared minus omega naught squared divided by twice the angular displacement. That is, alpha equals 0, right? That is the final angular speed, and minus the square of the initial angular speed, 377 radian per second. So that will be squared and then divided by twice the angular displacement, theta, 314 radian. So doing our math, we get the magnitude of the angular acceleration alpha equal to negative 226 radian per second squared. It is negative because when the centrifuge was switched off, okay, it started to decelerate, all right, until it stopped rotating. So, as expected, the angular acceleration is negative. And for our last question, letter D, computing the time it takes for the centrifuge to completely come to stop, all right? We use the formula T is equal to quantity final angular speed omega minus initial angular speed omega naught divided by alpha. That is, time t is equal to 0 minus 377 radian per second divided by the computed alpha, negative 226 radian per second squared. So, we finally have the value for the time t equal to 1.67 seconds in 3 significant figures. So that's it. We're done. Until the next episode, mabuhay. Masya Allah. Thank you very much for watching. Please follow me in my FB page and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel.